I'm Teresa. This is my studio. Welcome. Today's product focus is all about Distress Oxide Sprays.
Okay, so let's look at a few key features of Distress Oxide Sprays. This is in the Distress range, so it is water reactive. The difference between this spray and other sprays on the market, including Distress Spray Stains and the dilution sprays, those are all ink-based or dye-based. This one contains pigment as well. If you look at the bottom before you start shaking it, you'll see the sediment of the pigment that's settled down to the bottom, and you can see the ink color here at the top. Just need to shake these gently. And then you'll see a uniform color throughout. And then they're ready to spray. So being a spray, you know that you can get a lovely spray pattern if you hold it about 15 to 20 centimeters away, and if you spray up close you will get full coverage. So this is how I did the rainbow. I sprayed up close and I moved my hand a little bit as I sprayed these, and they blend really nicely.
Even when dry, your oxides are always water reactive. Here I'm just showing you that the colors started blending and oxidizing again when I sprayed more water on them. Another fun way to use the sprays is to stamp with them. I simply spray them on my craft mat, stamp my stamp into that to pick up the color, and then stamp on paper. You get a beautiful watercolor effect. And if you spritz the paper with a bit of water and use a second generation stamp, you get really good detail in your stamp. Keep in mind, any moisture will reactivate your sprays, so you can use it to your advantage and have the colors run and wick a little bit more. And if you want to stop the blending at any stage, you just quickly dry it with your heat gun. But if you want to seal your stamped image, you can do that with microglaze, Distress microglaze. You can just put that on with your finger and rub it over your stamp or even a background. Any Distress product can be sealed with Distress microglaze. Let's put it to the test. I sprayed some water on this and you will see there is absolute no color bleeding. The water beads up on the top. Here I have two ATCs. The one on the right hand side was sealed with microglaze and the one on the left I did not seal. So I'm going to use the water reactive properties to my advantage. I am using a wet brush here and a paper towel to lift the color inside the stamped image to make it lighter and stand out from the background.
So today I want to show you how I use Distress Oxide Sprays in this mixed media project. All the color you see in here, everything was done with Distress Oxide Sprays.
Here is an overview of all the elements that I colored with the Distress Oxide Sprays. I'm going to take you through each separate element to show you how I colored them. Up first is my background. I adhered a loose weave cotton fabric to the tag. Then I'm using 3 oxide colors together to create my background here. I'm spraying them in different spots, layering them, and then spraying them with water to activate and blend the colors. My biggest challenge was coloring the resin frame with oxide sprays. Oxides don't stick to non-porous surfaces. Now normally a layer of gesso would fix that, but after testing I found that the gesso resisted the spray. So I tested a few acrylic paints to see which one the sprays would stick to, and the clear winner was the Distress paint. On top of the Distress paint, the oxides blend and move very well, it dries properly and it adheres fairly well. So I painted my frame with a layer of Distress paint, sprayed it with the oxide, I let it dry, then I activated it with water to get that white chalky finish. I really love the old chippy vintage frame look. So now to give it a bit of a patina, like it spent years underwater, I added some green and blue oxides to selected areas, and then I activated it with water to give it that telltale oxidization that you can only get with the oxides. Next up is the ribbon. Now this is seam binding that I previously colored with Distress ink. I'm using 3 colors of oxides. I first sprayed it on the dry ribbon. Then after that I sprayed it with water to mix and blend the colors into the ribbon. Then I dried the ribbon. When the ribbon was dry, I used a wet brush and I touched it onto selected areas on the ribbon to create beautiful watermarks. Next up is the gauze. I sprayed the oxides on the dry gauze, then activated it with water, squished it a bit to blend the colors, and it dries very quickly. For the faux sand, I used texture paste and I mixed in some mini art stones. I used 2 colors of oxides to get the color that I wanted. To simulate coral, I used paper die cuts of leaves and I held the nozzle far away and I got a really nice spray pattern. Lastly, I painted my metal charms with Distress paint. Then I painted 2 colors of oxides onto that, oxidized them with water, and I really love the patina effect. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can see now that there's so much more to oxides than just backgrounds. A full tutorial for this tag will be available soon.